everyone.
I'm back, baby.
It's Jake Ciely.
I'm great. Everybody else sucks.
Oh,
no. It's every nightmare I've ever had.
Excuse me?
It's time to check the link.
Pretty crazy, huh? But it doesn't matter because none of this has anything to do with the show.
You know what? You just made the list.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
It's all in football.
Sure, we talk about it all the time. Really? No.
What's up, you ducks? Man, I got that in just in time, Chris. I could just finish typing and hit tweet there, like just so fast to try to get that in there. What's up, everybody? It's on BetsTV, all in football, as you guys know, every Monday with Chris Meaney. Make sure you're following Chris Meaney, by the way, at Chris Meaney. I was about to say .com. I don't know.
Oh, wow. My own website.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, at chrismeaney.com, at Chris Meaney on Twitter. Maybe you will someday with all those wonderful NHL picks that you put out every single year. Like, what do we got? What, 2 more months? Month and a half until you get those out again?
Yeah, man.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Yeah, the first week in October, the off season is going to be super short again this year with everything being delayed last year. So
yeah, in case anybody doesn't know, well over plus 100 on your what are those things called? I was about to say
units,
units.
baby. Yeah, I think we were at it was a bad last 2 rounds of the playoffs. I know we're not here to talk hockey, but I was up to 175 at one point.
No, we're talking making money.
120. Yeah, we are here talking about making money.
I follow the Rangers. I know half the team, and if you want to make money, that's about my hockey knowledge right there. So, and I was making money, and then when I wasn't ruining your picks. But anyway, Chris, yeah, we are talking fantasy football. We're gonna talk week 1 of the NFL preseason. Oh yes, in case you guys were waiting for you just made the list, Chris Jericho,
nice.
as in like the South Canadian version, Chris Jericho too. For
that's your best tee yet, I think.
You think it's the best one? I know. I said it was in my top 5.
You got a lot of good ones.
No
Yeah, there's a lot of good
favorite?
ones, but that one takes the cake for me. Yeah, that's got to be my favorite.
I was trying to position the mic where I could still talk into it, but you could still see a good portion of it, like just to make sure. But anyway, at theathletic.com/besttv first free month for the updated rankings, which I just did today. Chris, not a lot of movement because we talk about this all the time. Don't overreact to too much, but there are some bits of information that we want to talk about that do mean things, and part of it is trying to parse through that and figure out what matters, what doesn't. There's a lot of teams that weren't even throwing starters out there, but that can be telling as well, because if they're not throwing the starters out there, and you kind of see the playing time, so kind of dive into all that. Overall, Chris, though, before we even get to it, was it just nice to see like a full weekend of football and every team playing? It's back.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly. Nice. It was awesome. Yeah, it was fantastic. We've had football all weekend. Saturday was heavy football. And then just, I believe, just 2 games yesterday? 1 potentially? Colts and Carolina? Yeah.
Maybe it felt like 2.
It did feel like 2. It felt like 3 or 4. But, I mean, soon there's going to be a ton on Sundays. But, yeah, it was so great just to see it. And I know it's preseason and everybody overreacts, myself included, to certain things. But it was just nice to see, especially some of these younger players and players on new teams, new roles, getting opportunities right away. So it was just awesome to see football, man. It's here. Week 1 of preseason, saying it's done. It's here now.
You put Quez Watkins in the 3rd round, right? Like that's...
Yeah, Quez, 1 catch. Let's get him up there inside the top 40 wide receivers. Hey, it was encouraging though, just to see them try to get the ball to his hands in space. Like the Eagles have done so much over the past couple of years, missing on wideouts. Now, I don't expect him to be a big part of the offense, but speed, if he can stay on the field and Rager and Smith can stay on the field, there's a lot of speed inside that offense.
I was surprised you actually spun that into something. I was just making a complete joke. And you turned it. You know what? I didn't even put this on the list. Here, I will say a few things that did move in my ranks. Yeah. It wasn't far, but Dallas Goddard did slide back 2 spots.
Same. I bumped him down a little bit.
Okay. I'm glad you did too, and I'm not trying to victory lap because I thought this year would be different. Let me make that clear for everybody out there. I thought it would be different for Dallas Goddard. So let's get that out there. But last year, and I was part of I didn't have Dallas Goddard anywhere because I said Zach Ertz is still on this. You and I talked about this last year. I said Zach Ertz is still on the team. Zach Ertz hasn't gone anywhere. It's similar to the OJ Howard, Cameron Brate. Similar to all these other situations with dual tight ends, and it's just until Zach Ertz is gone.
Exactly.
Like chill out on Dallas Goddard. Well, Zach Ertz was assumably going to be traded. I think is assumably a word, or did I just make it assumably?
We just make up words in this show apparently. I like it because I got my vocabulary is awful. So if we're gonna make up words, I'm gonna take part in it moving forward.
So we all thought, or most people thought, that Zach Ertz was gone, either by cut, trade, whatever it might be, and that was the excitement for Dallas Goddard. And then we heard from practice reports that you just talked about with Jalen Reagor. Jalen Reagor struggled as a rookie. They drafted Devontae Smith, who's missing time. Travis Fulgham, as much as he's a great story from Old Dominion, nobody really expects him to be a true NFL number one. So it's like, okay, they'll be similar to the Patriots this year, and the fact that the 1 and the 2 might be the tight ends. If nothing else, the 1 might be Dallas Goddard. But again, it's preseason week 1. But the usage of Ertz and how often he was out there, again, we're not, dropping Goddard down to tight end 15. But you said, who was the 2 guys that slid in front of Goddard for you? Because for me, I originally had Goddard in front of Logan Thomas and Robert Tonyan, and those are the 2 that he slid behind for me.
Same. Those are the 2. Logan Thomas, I did it pretty early on, even before I saw the preseason game from Dallas Goddard. The thing is, I really like Goddard. I think he, as a talent and a skill set, and if there was no Ertz, I believe he would be in that next tier. And I say the next tier, like right in around Mark Andrews. Like I think he belongs to be maybe outside of Hawkinson and in that Andrews. And heck, you could even maybe make the case for him to be in that Hawkinson tier if there was no Zach Ertz. And now reports at Phillies that they were really showcasing this guy. I mean, I think everyone across the league knows Zach Ertz. And what he can bring to the table. Now he has lost a step or 2 over the past couple of years, but he's not far removed from having an elite season for a tight end. But I noticed that in that game, Hurts went to both tight ends early and often, and that's been the report when Smith hasn't been really practicing, but that's been the report in camp that Jalen Hurts has just been focusing on those 2 tight ends. You saw the big gain from Goddard right away, which is very encouraging. And then he went to Zach Ertz, I think, on a 3rd down, which is something that Philly always, I mean, whether it was Wentz or Foles, Ertz was the guy on 3rd down, and he had that drop, which didn't help his case. But we're not going to see his true potential until Zach Ertz is away from that team. And I don't know if he's going to get traded or not. So it's going to be, it's going to be a pain in the butt, I think, if Ertz is still a member, it's going to be tough for Goddard. I'd like him, man, as a talent, but you can't. I think it's a low-end tight end 1 now.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing.
And it's just 1 preseason game.
It is, but part of what you get into there too as well. And Nathan Jonke from PFF does a great job of this. Is looking at snap counts with the first team, like not just starters. So it's not just snap counts; it's snap counts with the starters, which is really what you do want to watch for. Whether people are out or in or whatever it might be, that's kind of telling of also, I bring this up all the time. I would say you got to evaluate with the ones, and you evaluate with the ones in practice, but that also means in preseason time too. So if you aren't even getting runs with the first team, conversely, if they're mixing in multiple people like Ertz and Goddard, both with the first team, these are kind of some telling things. And that's what we're going to kind of dive down through with a couple of them. Might be the most concerning one here, Chris, and this specifically goes to that, is more than another player. Like, so when we get first team or starters, whatever you want to call it, reps in the preseason game, like, okay, well, they're, Javonte Williams. There's no Melvin Gordon. We kind of expect it anyway, but he's a rookie also, so he's going to get that run. There's teams that aren't even using their running backs. Austin Eckler's not even supposed to play the entire preseason. So you can kind of look at them. But this one might be the most concerning of the entire weekend. Might be, because I want to get your opinion, and then I'll tell you mine. But Malcolm Brown comes in. So, you know what, Chris? I was about to say this isn't my victory lapping, but I am going to kind of victory lap this one, because initially when I put up my rankings about a month ago, everybody's 2 ways. There's like, you're too low on Myles Gaskin and you're too low on Salvin Ahmed. I was like, did you not pay attention to the fact that they brought in Malcolm Brown? And I wasn't saying like, I don't expect, well, maybe now, but I don't expect Malcolm Brown to lead the backfield. But it was one of those signings where it's like, I just think it's getting ignored. Like, you can't ignore when they bring somebody like that in. Again, it's just another piece of the pie in the backfield. So add to that, Chris, now not the victory lap part, I'm a Gaskin guy, but Malcolm Brown, more first team reps than Gaskin. Do you think this was, let's see what Malcolm Brown does in our offense? Or is this panic time for everybody that's in on Gaskin? which kind of feels like a few years ago with this same Miami's Dolphins team, where it was give more reps to Lamar Miller. Is this what we're doing again? Is this Myles Gaskin? We're going down the same hole?
This is the biggest takeaway, I think, from the entire weekend, besides the rookie quarterbacks. This is the biggest takeaway, I think, and it is slightly concerning. There's two ways to look at it, and you were just on Mean Streets with me, I think, on Thursday, and you kind of said exactly how it would play out. Now, you were a Gaskin fan, but you had some concerns. We both talked about how involved he was through the air, and then we also talked about the pass catchers that they added through the draft, and Jalen Waddle, and then they bring in Will Fuller, and we were wondering, and we expected, really, the takeaway was that the targets would come down, and he played basically third down roles for the weekend in the first game. Right. It was Malcolm Brown with the starters, 9 carries, 8 yards. Now the offensive line was awful, minus 7 yards before contact, which was pretty bad. But also a lot of the starters weren't playing on either side there. It is concerning because, as you said, they brought him in. He has a history of getting touches inside the red zone. He's a big body. They talked about him, just short yardage, first down and short yardage roles. So that's telling right there that they decided to go with that game plan right away. But also I look at it as it's Malcolm Brown. Yeah, he's going to get in the way, but he doesn't have the most upside in this backfield. I think we can both say that Gaskin does have the most upside in this backfield, and he can catch, which is nice. But Brown, the fact that he is going to most likely be that red zone back. I mean, that I think over time, Gaskin can take over and they can say, okay, listen, we're rolling here with Brown and the first team offense. It's not working. We saw that last year with the Rams. Remember week 1? It was Brown, a little bit of Henderson, none of Cam Akers. And then quickly Brown was just fizzled out of the offense. And I think over time that may happen, but people drafting Gaskin as like RB 23, 24, 25, might be a little steep. He probably deserves to be outside the top 25. We don't have a large sample size of this guy, and we don't know about Miami. Remember last year too, at this time, Jake, it was like, oh no, we got Jordan Howard and Matt Breida. All right. And then Gaskin eventually took over and was the guy. So I think it could go down the same way, but not a perfect great start.
Oh, wait. Chris, live, we're doing this on our show. I am running away from the camera live on the show because I forgot something that I bought specifically for you in the show.
What do you got? We can kind of hear you.
You can kind of hear me?
Yeah, we get you a little bit more now.
I was going to say, is this so much of a concern that it's the poop emoji?
Oh, yes, the poop emoji. Absolutely. And then there was another emoji too, right? You were going to do?
There is, but I didn't get both of them. I was trying to come back quickly. I'll save the other one for another day.
So what do you
comes
got?
over wondering what the heck I'm doing. So this
is that Malcolm Brown or is that Myles Gaskin?
This is the excitement for Myles Gaskin.
Yeah.
Did you really say that? So you know what else we can do, Chris? Because I was going to say he moved down to number 30, my running backs.
Okay.
Not a huge drop. It looks like I want to estimate 4 or 5 spots, but to see who he's behind. Yeah. And of course, I'm wearing this shirt. So what do we do when we try to figure out where the heck do we put Myles Gaskin now? What do we do, Chris?
What do we do, Jake?
We make a list.
Yes.
That's what we do.
That one was amped up.
God,
You're excited for that one.
Yes, this is a wonderful Monday show. I don't care what anybody else thinks. If you don't 5-star review the hell out of this or thumbs up and subscribe or whatever, I don't want you ever coming back. You're mutumboed. You're full on mutumboed. You're banned. You're blocked from this. Oh, that banned is Pat Mail. So yeah, you're just blocked. All right, Chris. How far do you want to start up? Give me a number in the 20s. How far do I start up?
22.
All right, 23 it is. So 23. You had to know I was going to do
I
that.
knew it was coming, yeah.
23 is, you know what? I'll start with 22. 22 is Miles Sanders. The other Miles. So
all right.
Miles Sanders over Myles Gaskin?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
23, Kareem Hunt. Myles Gaskin, Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt. Yeah, Kareem Hunt.
Okay. Kareem Hunt's going to, by the way, he's going to finish higher. But the problem with Kareem Hunt is that, it's going to be Kareem Hunt. Like by attrition and other running backs losing their jobs or getting hurt, Kareem Hunt, if playing 16, 17 games, is going to finish as RB 15, 14. Yeah. But it's the bag. That's a conversation for another day. All right. 24, which I guess we could kind of talk about his usage too, but Travis Etienne. or Miles
Ooh,
Gaskin?
yeah, I'll go ETN here. I'll take the upside on ETN, but I do believe that Urban Meyer is going to use a lot of these backs, including Carlos Hyde.
What the
He
hell?
said it, man. He said it right away, and I thought, no chance. It's like that Ron Burgundy, you already brought him up earlier. I don't believe you. That's not happening. There's no chance that's happening, but heck, man, Urban Meyer. So it's just, I think we'll have to get to know him in his process, and I believe he's going to be a frustrating one to figure.
Oh my
to
God,
figure out
full
when it
blown
comes to
committee in
backfield.
that backfield. James,
Yes.
honestly, if that's the case though, and he's really going down this route with ETN, then James Robinson might just be the best value in that backfield, the most consistent of all of them, because you know his use. I mean, because he was using Carlos Hyde on passing downs too.
Exactly,
That was the most frustrating part.
And then there was rotating all through them. It's going to be.
I was
going to be a
that
rotation.
It was the one series right before all the starters started getting pulled, where it was Carlos Hyde in there for a few, and then that's the one thing they brought in the second team, and Carlos Hyde was still out there for the entire first drive. They went 3 and out on that. I was watching that and I'm like, all right, maybe this gives us a little bit of hope that Carlos Hyde is clearly the third option. I'm just please don't do this. All right, 25, Michael Carter. You know my feelings on Michael Carter. So
yeah, and I like Carter as well. I will lean Carter, but I thought, and it was just one game from a rookie, and that's where I don't want to overreact. But it was interesting to see him split time with Ty and not get third down roll. So that was just something I think something just to monitor, because I'm into him, and I don't believe in Tevin Coleman, but I will take Carter over.
Okay. Where were we? That was number 25. So 26, Javonte Williams, who had a nice game. Williams. Sure. Would you take Williams over Michael Carter?
Yes.
That's a tough read with no Melvin Gordon in that game.
It is. And he was dealing with a groin too. I don't know, man. Like, they drafted this guy. I believe they moved up, right? They know what they have in Gordon. He could be a pain in the butt as well. I think maybe like a split right off the hop, and then Williams just kind of takes over.
Yeah. I mean, you know my feelings on that one. And my concern is that the split might last longer than I originally predicted. I said worst case scenario is week 6, but just some of the reading from that team. All right, that's for another day too. Raheem Mostert. We haven't seen Mostert yet. Mostert or Gaskin?
You know what? I may lean Gaskin here in this spot.
Okay.
It's really close. I just don't believe there's a lot going on in San Fran too. And I just believe in the upside of Gaskin and not so much on the upside of Brown.
Yeah, I think I believe more than just the upside of any running back playing for the 49ers. That's
fair enough. Yeah.
And as of today, he's still playing for them. How about this one, which is the one that I get a lot of pushback on? James Conner on Myles Gaskin.
Ooh, yeah, Conner's high for you. I'll go Gaskin there. Yeah, Conner's slightly high that's a little high.
You know what? Until hurt. Which, I mean, is a good bet if you're making that bet. I hate that. I hate that for him. But they've even themselves have even talked about that, Chase. I don't know how many times I have to say it. In 2 years, when plenty of multiple opportunities, he's already carried the ball over 8 times, 3 times. 8.
Yeah.
8. He only got over 8 3 times. They don't want him in that role. But that's it. Again, another conversation. This is a lot of conversations for another day.
And Connor's the goal line back there. There's no question about that. If it's not,
he's going to get the valuable touches. Barkley doesn't usually come on the left side. She's kind of weird. What's going on over here? Damian Harris or Myles Gaskin.
Ooh, I do like Harris. I respect where you have him ranked, but I will lean with Gaskin there. I'm trying not to overreact with Malcolm Brown. I think over time.
Okay, well then I'll rapid fire the 5 guys right behind Gaskin, and you just tell me if you would take any of them over Gaskin.
Okay.
All right. Fournette, Edmonds, James Robinson, Jamal Williams, and Melvin Gordon.
No, none of them.
No. Trey Sermon, 36.
Gets close. I'd probably have him right behind Gaskin. In fact, I do. Like, I'm looking at my rankings, got Edmonds and Sermon right behind him immediately. And you mentioned Fournette. I mean, that Tampa backfield is going to be a complete mess as well.
Don't do it.
It is. It's going to be.
He's the highest by default. But I've said, I said this entire offseason, even when somebody was talking about the usage in that game. And he was like, well, I took Ronald Jones because he was the best of that. The guy was saying, it was right around round 9 or 10. He was like, it was either him or a bunch of backups. And I was like, take the backups.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a full-on committee there. I fully believe it. And the Bucs are just absolutely loaded. There's so many times you can go across. I mean, you covering fantasy for years, and even just outside of football, other sports where there's just loaded rosters. don't know how many times you've talked about quarterbacks and all the weapons and just drafting the quarterback. I'm feeling like it's going to be an absolute headache among the 2 tight ends and OJ Howard in there as well in 2 tight end sets. I know Gronk was probably going to play with all the ones, but Antonio Brown is a value and Brady loves him. And then we're trying to figure out with Evans and Godwin, and now Giovanni Bernard's in that backfield and he's probably going to catch balls.
Well, see, I'm not even that on Gio, because to your point about this is that you look at the James White Patriots teams. It wasn't Evans and Godwin and Antonio Brown as the top 3 before you even talk. It was Gronk, and back then it was Gronk and maybe Julian Edelman, maybe somebody else. It was just like so. Yeah, James White was a value when there weren't, as you're mentioning, 8 billion weapons to go to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in on Gio, but
no,
he's not going to get catches.
Well, that's the thing. I was going to say, a lot of people are pushing back. Well, then Gio's the answer, just like James White's the answer. And I was like, no, man. James White's a different answer than this. So, yeah. The question is, who do you want to avoid? All of them. That's the answer. That's the question.
I totally agree. All of them.
So, which is nice. What the hell, Barkley? Come on. I'm trying to do a show over here.
What's his deal?
Don't call him.
Oh, yeah. I just always think of Saquon.
Well, I mean,
what's her deal? What's she missing you? I saw her. She walked in the background there. She's. I know.
Now. She's being needy this morning. So I think the poop emoji threw her off, that noise, because I don't know if you heard her, but she whined when I made the
she probably wants to play with that toy.
I know. Yeah. I'm gonna have to buy a second one for her to play with. Spend another $10 on a stupid poop emoji fart noise machine. So this is, we're talking third downs, pass catching, and we as a community, and this 100% isn't a victory lap, Chris. Because like I thought, even worst case, there would be an improvement for an Antonio Gibson in third down. So yeah. He'll be a better pass catcher. I've also said that Ryan Fitzpatrick doesn't throw to running backs, and that was part of my concern for this team as a whole with Gibson and McKissick, if McKissick's involved. All that being said, I did not expect it to be this bad. And when I say this bad, everybody, if you didn't look, and if you didn't look at the use, and if you didn't watch the game, which that's not trying to talk down to you. I'm just saying, if you didn't know, he wasn't used on third downs, period, Chris. This isn't like he wasn't thrown to, because he did get some pass catching opportunities on first and second down, but on third downs, Antonio Gibson was not on the field, which might be worse than never seeing. Like if you said Antonio Gibson was out there for 20 snaps and first, second, third down, he's out there all the time and got 0 targets. I'd rather have that than to tell me he was never on the field for third down. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, for sure. And I believe in the first show when you had Ratcliffe and Smalls on here, we talked about just running backs who were among the leaders in catches, and J.D. McKissick was right there. What, number two? Was it 3? But just like a handful within 5 catches of Alvin Kamara for the top spot. But he was involved, and I think we all thought it was. Yeah, we all thought it was Alex Smith maybe dumping down, but maybe he showed that he could. Play that role, and that maybe that could continue. Gibson, I'm so torn on him, man. I really don't know. Like, I like him overall as a running back, and I remember you and I talking about him before when he was coming out of college, and I think he only had like less than 40 carries as a running back altogether at Memphis. And then like, how would that play into the NFL? Can he be a guy that's going to get over, I don't know, let's say, can he get over 200 carries? Like, what do you have him for? Over 230? That would be... Yeah, that doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it seems like a lot for him, for a guy who, towards the end of the season was starting to get a few more carries. But, there's 2 things. He was at least involved when he was on the field, whether it was getting targets or carries. Like, opportunities were there when he was playing his snaps. But, yeah, to not be involved on third down role, which is something that they talked about in the offseason, that they would get him involved more, that he would get more targets, and also that he would be involved in the hurry-up offense, which is something that we didn't see at all last year. I just look at the game log, and I don't want to judge too much on last year, but, man, like 28% of his fantasy points came against the Cowboys in 2 games. Like, that's quite a bit. It's like the only 2 games where he had over 94 rushing yards. Like, again, he had them, but I don't know, man. He's got to be involved through the air.
235 carries
235
and 40 targets, so 32 receptions. Actually, I have a very high reception mark when he actually gets targeted. But
so is that an increase in targets? That's pretty much on par with what he did last year, right?
Yeah, And it's a pretty similar, but the usage is more a little bit over the 17 games, a little bit more on the run side of things. It's just a slight uptick. That's where I've kind of been. It's a slight uptick on the use, which is why I wasn't taking him where a lot of people actually, I don't have Gibson on a single team yet, is because people are taking him near that Chubb and Mixon and all that excitement right around there as a fringe RB1. And I just haven't been willing to and not doing it because the other part of it too is, and again, not overreacting to one preseason game. And I wasn't super high on Jarrett Patterson, who I think is somewhat of a compiler in college, like all those rushing numbers. And, you look at the talent, he's good. He's got strength. Absolutely. He's got strength, but I bring him into the conversation to see that Peyton Barber / Patterson role is like, they still are going to give some carries to that I don't want to say bulldozer, because that's kind of overstating what they really are, but more of the power backs. Like that's going to be mixed in. Like right now, I have 70 carries going to Barber and Patterson mixed in there. And that's with having, that's after cutting Lamar Miller, who they cut. I didn't cut Lamar Miller.
You would have, though. You would have cut him.
Yeah, I cut Lamar Miller years ago.
So where is my ranking of RB14 for Antonio Gibson in a half-point setting fair? Because that
it is.
Have him inside the top 10.
I would hope it's fair because I have him at 15. And so there you go. But see, right in front of him is somebody we're going to talk about if we have time today, because he's one of your boys that we never got to. Hint, hint. You might know who I'm talking about now, but I don't know if anybody else does. But a running back that I think is one of the best last year's trash post-hype sleepers. There's a lot of hints for everybody out there. I don't know how many more I have to say for people to catch on who the running back might
101
be.
101 in rookie-only drafts, right? That's what
last year,
was freaking out about last year. And it turned out maybe it was the wrong call. Who knows? So
maybe it might be the right call, just a year early.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think a lot of people would go back and take Jefferson with the 101 at this point. But speaking of Jefferson and wide receivers and overexcitement, and look, that guy's team. There you go. If you know this, let's make it so clear at this point. But another strange, well, not necessarily strange, but concerning use for Mecole Hardman. So similar to Antonio Gibson with a 3, but in a different way. Hardman on the field, a lot, Chris. They're running a lot of 3 wide. Here's the problem. They have to run 3 wide because Mecole Hardman, not one single snap, not a 1, 0 snaps unless they're running 3 wide, as in never out there in 2 wide receiver sets. Is the hype too high? Or are we hoping
doing it again,
too much for Hardman for another year?
What? Everyone's doing it again, isn't they? Aren't they?
I mean, they did it last year.
Hardman. I mean, he's got to be good. Andy Reid drafted him. This offense, Patrick Mahomes, he's real fast.
People forget why he drafted him. They drafted him because they didn't know if Tyreek Hill was playing.
I know that was when he was going through the legal stuff, right? And then they didn't know if he was going to be a part of the team or not.
Go back and look at that draft and look at the wide receivers that were still on the board when they took Hardman. And this is clearly, oh my gosh, we have to replace Tyreek Hill potentially.
Yeah, and until Hill is gone away from that team, whether it's an injury or not, I don't think we're going to see Hardman's true potential. And I don't even know what his true potential is. Like, again, he's very fast. And we like Patrick Mahomes, and we like the offense, and he could step up and be a guy. But if he's only going to play 3 wide receiver sets, then, I mean, I don't know if this is a big deal because Kansas City's probably going to play a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. Yeah. So I think it's okay for him. But again, what are we looking for? There's going to be inconsistencies in his game. We're just looking at a flyer and around what wide receiver 55, 56, 60s, whatever. We're looking for a guy with upside there. But for me, I don't have a lot of shares of him because he's kind of going there. And like I said, you just don't know when you're going to feel comfortable playing this guy out. Even in you got injuries or bye week replacements, are you really going to roll him out as a 3 and feel confident that he can get you some points? Like, he could be a great best ball guy. We make the case for a lot of people for being best ball guys, but this is not good. I saw a report in practice. Everybody's amazing in best ball. Everybody. Zach Ertz, unbelievable. Draft him. Don't do that though. But Hardman, I saw some negative reports at a KC camp like a couple weeks ago of him just, there was one video where he couldn't get separation at all, and there's a pick on the play, and then it seemed like the coaching staff just went right over to Hardman and was just like right in his ear. So, I mean, he's off my radar. I get it. It's appealing because it's KC, but right now I don't have any shares, and I don't know how many I'll have.
Mecole Hardman or Devontae Parker for you?
I'll take Parker. I'll
Okay.
take Parker,
What,
and I'm not crazy about Parker, but I take Parker there.
Jalen Waddle?
Yeah, for sure. I liked his game, didn't you? I liked where he
Yeah.
just
I
lined
just,
up all over the place.
I mean, 3 wide, and that's no Will Fuller. Yeah, that's my only. That's why I kind of was bringing that team into the conversation, is because you have a 3 wide usage more like somebody's getting left out over there. I mean, I'm a big Tua fan, but when everybody's out there, Will Fuller, Devontae Parker, Jalen Waddle, and I do think Gesicki is going to take a huge hit this year because of Jalen Waddle, and we've talked about before. In case you don't know, I don't want to go through the entire thing. The quick version is that Mike Gesicki, one of the highest usage of all tight ends in the slot, also one of the highest volumes of all tight ends usage-wise for the last 5 or 6 weeks of the season, and you still only got what you got from Gesicki last year, who now won't be playing the slot when Waddle's on the field. That's the quick version of why we're concerned about Mike Gesicki. But
exactly.
That's why I like that team. Like, of all of them, and you know how much it pains me to say this because Will Fuller's frustrating so often. Until recent years, I have Will Fuller the highest, but I have all 4 of them, or all 3 of them. Well, I guess 4 if we include Hardman. They're all in the 40s, and Will Fuller's the highest. So I actually go Will Fuller, Parker, Hardman, Waddle. And I love Waddle. I'm just really concerned with the reports of that. They're going to limit him in his rookie season, and the legs still bother him a little bit. He looked great, which seems like that all went out the window.
Don't buy into those reports, Jake. Don't buy it.
I don't want to.
That's kind of the opposite of what I have. I know I do have Fuller ahead of Parker, but I do have Waddle. But they're all in that range, yeah. And I've noticed all of them are starting to just fall down draft boards a little bit. Fuller has fallen more than anybody over the last 2 weeks in NFFC drafts.
I don't know if that's because one game. It's not the entire season.
Yeah, no, like I just don't get it. Is it the one suspension? Is it people in high stakes don't want to, spend their money on someone like that? But I feel like they should be shooting for upside. I mean, when I'm doing drafts like that, I'm shooting for upside. I get not having a lot of shares of him. But it's just one game, and Tua, I believe, can throw the ball down the field, and I think he will. I think he's going to like Fuller.
I mean, I think he's going to have a lot of fun this year in general. I got a lot of Tua shares, so I'm excited about that. Speaking of a lot of shares, by the way, again, all in, it's ALLIN is the code, 20% off all the FTN packages, including Chris's wonderful picks that you can get in early October to make some money in hockey, which just make sure I don't make the same picks so that's how you win.
When you text me after my picks, it's like, oh no, I could have hedged now.
There was somebody last year that was like, you told me, it was like, oh, this one's a lock because no, because whoever it was had moved up a line and was getting a ton of ice time, and it was shots on goal, and they still hadn't moved. Vegas still hadn't moved his line from 1.5 to 2.5. Because, and I forget, I was telling Eric Young about this while we were out in Flex in New York. I was like, I don't remember who it was, but I remembered he was still at 1.5, and he was out there averaging like 3 a game. And I did it. And no, he got 1 because he got a major in the first period, and then whoever he played for shot like 17 times the entire game. It was something ridiculous, and I ruined it for you. Look, you're so shocked your video froze with your hand over your mouth.
So you froze on me. So I was like, he's talking about my crappy pick. So he's froze. We both, one of us froze, maybe both. But I mean, you're a jinx, dude.
I know.
Don't touch my football props.
I'll make sure not to do that. I don't know if I want to touch my own football props, honestly.
I think it's just like bad luck. Like you've shown me so many winners over the years, even throughout the hockey season. But the ones that you lose are just, it's ludicrous. Like it could be Nathan McKinnon. Nathan McKinnon takes more shots than anybody. You take him to have 3 shots and he has 0 shots, and he hits the post 3 times and they don't count as shots. Like that's the kind of stuff that happens to you.
Or my 6-way parlay where I bet down LeBron James to 20 points and he drops like 18 that night and like leaves in the fourth quarter because it's a blowout. Those are the kind of things that I run into. People don't want to hear about my misery. Well, I mean, maybe they do, but that's what they're doing. We could bring back the dating fields, although COVID kind of ruined that. Let's talk about 2 good ones. So like kind of worried. All right, let's turn this around. Let's get good on here. Real quick, back to the Chiefs. Do you have any interest in trying to figure out Robinson or Pringle, or this is
Pringle? I'll lean with him. Yeah,
once you pop, can't stop.
That's right. Slightly more upside, I believe, but whatever. Not interested in either.
Somebody sent me a Pringle screenshot. It was Steve Buchanan. You know Steve Buchanan, right?
Oh yeah. Great guy.
Yeah, he said I forget what the flavor was. It was something really off the wall. Pringles gone out. Pringles has gone like the Oreos direction with their
Oh, yeah.
like all these insane flavors and stuff like that. I was kind of curious. Lay's did it too. I was kind of curious to get some of those. But anyway, all right. So 2 good ones. First one, Corey Davis. Was there a target that didn't go to Corey Davis while he was on the field? I don't think there was. And I'm not saying that like that's legitimately true. Like when the first team, the starters were out there, I'm pretty sure all of the targets went to Corey Davis. Myself included, this is definitely not a victory lap because I was concerned about Corey Davis. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if I talked to you about it yet, Chris, but I said with the Jets, Jamison Crowder is still around. I love Elijah Moore and his talent. He's probably one of the most hyped top 5, at least in the fantasy community right now in the offseason, even with the injury. But both of them are still around. I don't like Denzel Mims, but he's still there. Like it was just, can Corey Davis, one, be the number one with defenses paying that much attention to him because he really succeeded playing alongside A.J. Brown, and he's going from Tannehill to a rookie and Zach Wilson. And just a lot of questions here and a lot of options on this team. And then again, Corey Davis was the guy in that game. Focus of just getting on the same page, building some rapport, or is this maybe Corey Davis is walking to a 20% target share and we're underrating Corey Davis?
Yeah, I think we're underrating him. I got him as a top 35 wide receiver. I think he's going to get a lot of volume and a lot of opportunity. It could be frustrating like Jerry Jeudy getting 113 targets and catching like 52 of them, right?
Who'd you rather have, Jeudy or Davis?
I'd rather have Jerry Jeudy. I have Jeudy ranked higher.
Really?
But yeah, but it's close, man. And I may have to make some adjustments here because I may have to make some adjustments because of, yes, there's still Jamison Crowder on the roster, but he's had some injuries and Elijah Moore is dealing with something. And Moore is one of those guys he's gone up every single week. 5 weeks I've looked at risers and fallers over at NFFC, and he's jumped every single week. We'll see now with the injury. But for Corey Davis, the volume's going to be there. I think the opportunity, you weren't over saying it. I mean, he played 9 snaps with the starters, 4 targets, a target in each one of his passing routes, and he had 2 catches for 18 yards. So like, that's the kind of stuff, like if he gets 10 targets, he's getting 5 catches. Like I think that Zach Wilson is going to struggle in week 1. It's not that I don't like him as a core or week 1 all year, maybe. I like the offensive line, but I think it's going to be a real learning curve for him. I think it's going to take him some time, but volume is king. Opportunity is king. Clearly Davis right away. It's just 1 game, but this guy could be en route to 100+ targets, and that's very valuable. And I think he's going to be one of the biggest risers just from this week 1. It could be so much overreaction, but I really do feel like, what's his ADP? Like mid 40s? Like not a lot of people are really talking about him or thinking about him. Yeah. And I think he's going to rise up a little bit.
I mean, I have him as wide receiver 41, not as high as you. And that's
low,
8. That's 8 over his ADP.
Wow. Yeah. That's what I mean.
People
Let's
don't
check it
like
next
Corey
week
Davis.
and see where he's moved.
That's a good one. Yeah, to check where it goes. Which, by the way, Corey Davis kind of feel, and this is why you bring up the Zach Wilson. So it's coupled with Zach, and this is again, you might be listening and be like, "Oh, Jake's coming from a bias because he was worried about Corey Davis to start." No. These are kind of these things like I'm admittedly saying like maybe you're too low on Corey Davis, but let's check the schedule. And I bring this up because I bring up Corey Davis could be a very good buying opportunity. And here's why. Week 1 at Carolina, not that concerned. It's what comes right after that, including a bye. Now, Atlanta, I'm also not concerned about Atlanta, but week 2, New England, and he gets that kind of treatment. Week 3 in Denver. Week 4, Tennessee, pace control on top of that one. Week 5 is Atlanta, which again, I'm not concerned about Atlanta. So you get Carolina and Atlanta, but week 6 is the bye week. And that's why I bring that up, is because if somebody drafts Corey Davis, they get frustrated with New England and Denver. If nothing else, maybe he has a good game against Tennessee, but like they're going to be feeling frustrations from weeks 2 and 3, especially with Zach Wilson. You got the bye creeping up there, and then you're going to see the bye coming, and they're going to see the first. I'm just saying, put that in the back of your mind. If you don't get Corey Davis at a discount, which I still think you can right now, but if you don't, and you want to wait and look for that opportunity after week 3 and know that, yes, after the bye, by the way, Chris, at New England, people are going to be looking at this. I'm just saying, like, people are going to see Corey Davis on their team and get ticked off. But then Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Buffalo concerned, Miami possibly concerned, Houston, Philly, New Orleans, I don't know why I said it like that. New Orleans, Miami, Jacksonville, Tampa Bay to finish things out. So much more favorable down the stretch. There are some landmines in there, but
Yep.
I'm just saying it's the buy low opportunity.
Yeah, I like where you're going there. I mean, he's going to light up the Titans because revenge week 4. Like, that's fine. And then Atlanta, and then
Or
you
did
get
you
the
really
bye.
just throw out a revenge? We haven't
I
even got
did,
to
yeah.
the season. You're throwing out the revenge nonsense.
I
Oh my
did.
gosh,
It's
week
it's
5
it's
is early. Heads
yeah.
up, week 5's the London. I forgot we were back to that. Is that why that's
Yeah, that's
9:30?
right. Yeah, at 9:30 a.m. for my time, Atlantic, not
Yeah.
Eastern. Nobody knows Atlantic, but
Well, I always said that. Why do we? It's not Eastern and Western. It's Atlantic and Pacific, or it's Eastern and Pacific. Why isn't it Atlantic and Pacific or Eastern and Western? Why are we switching it up? It's
why
gotta
even
be
have time
consistency.
zones? Why even
Well,
have them?
Why
even
do we
them?
have daylight savings? We're spiraling
Yes.
out of control here now.
We
This
are.
is what you do with this show.
But the bottom line, you know, you're dead on with the tough matchups. New England, Denver, Tennessee, Atlanta gets a little bit easier to buy, and then New England again. Then it gets soft, like you said. Buffalo's mixed in there, tough. Saints week 14, tough. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be frustrating. I think what we said, we can come full circle with this, is for Wilson and the reports in camp too, right? He's like no pass rushers on him. He's taking full 5 seconds here to throw the football, and he's not connecting with any guys. And then right away locked into like Davis and the game plan being Davis. So I think over time, maybe Elijah could be his guy, but Jamison Crowder, right? You mentioned Crowder. He's in the way. So it could take some time for Elijah to kind of overtake that slot role, or if Crowder gets hurt, maybe it happens earlier. But the targets are going to be there for Davis. It's a bad football team with the Jets, too. Like, they're going to give up some points. I think they've improved on both sides of the football, and I love the offensive line, which I mentioned.
Right.
But it could be a Jerry Jeudy thing. It really could be. It could be an AJ Green thing. It could be a guy just getting 100+ targets and being so frustrating. Well, hey, the volume is there at least. It's some garbage time catches for him, but I think that's what will probably cap him from being a wide receiver 3.
Okay. I'm with you on that one. So wide receiver 4 is a fair spot for him,
4,
and
I
then
think, is
potential
great,
buy low.
yeah.
All right. Let's talk about somebody who I don't care where you have him because you're still too low on him. I don't know how many times I have to say you're too low on him. This is our guy. I'll tell you right now, Chris. I am 22 spots over ADP on where I have him. Somebody in one of my most ranking updates said, "Wow, Marv Jones over DJ Shark, hot take." And my response was, "Is it? Is it? Question mark? Is it?" Because Marvin Jones is on the field. I love DJ Shark as a talent. You know this, Chris.
Right.
But missing 2 to 3 weeks with a brand new offense, brand new quarterback, brand new system, brand new coach. I don't know how many brand new things you have to throw in here. Laviska Shenault, which everybody wants to go gaga over, who also, by the way, we're going to bring into this conversation. So don't bring in Laviska Shenault just yet. But Marvin Jones got the Corey Davis treatment from Trevor Lawrence and was making some big catches. How high is too high to get Marvin Jones?
Yeah, I got him at 38.
Why do you hate Marvin Jones?
I know, and I got Shark at 36, so it's close, and I may have to bump him ahead. This is something else that we talked about on Mean Streets last week when you joined me, is like how Marvin Jones always seems to get disrespected, even years in Detroit with a good quarterback on a bad football team, and his time in Cincinnati when he was a red zone beast, and he was a red zone beast in Detroit, and we were wondering, and I was wondering too, like, and you saw the picture on the boat when they're all there, Trevor Lawrence with all 3 wide receivers. And I think the caption from somebody was like, who's going to be his guy? And it's like, why couldn't it be Marvin Jones, who's going like wide receiver 55? Why is he going so late? And we know DJ Chark has got a ceiling there and some upside. He's among the leaders in ADOT and air yards and free tools over at FTN that you can check out. He does check a lot of boxes, and there was some bad quarterback play last year. But you bring in Marvin Jones, who knows the system. He does know the system. And he's a guy that has always been a touchdown beast. And a lot of the people in the fantasy community just want it to be Shenault. And we like Chark's upside. But again, coming full circle here on the show is, why don't you just take the cheaper guy? And it's Marvin Jones. And who's to say that he wouldn't be Trevor Lawrence's guy? And he certainly was in the first week of preseason. So he's going to be another one. In fact, I said Davis probably jumps up more than anyone. It's probably Marvin Jones. And he probably won't go as high as where he should. You're right.
All right. So do you know, how about, I'm going to play a little trivia with, do you know where Marvin Jones finished last year at wide receiver?
He's a top 25 guy, I think.
Yeah, actually undersold him a little bit. He was 16.
16.
Yes, he was basically discount Adam Thielen with his.
And he started so awful. You remember that? People dropped
978
him
and
across
9
the board.
touchdowns. To that, he had 4 single-digit performances at the first or 5 games. 2 of them 1.4 and 1.5 against New Orleans and Jacksonville, and then double digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to finish out the rest of the season with double digits. Most of his touchdowns came in that game, which that was my next point, Chris. Of the last 4 seasons, when he's played at least 13 games, 9 touchdowns. Actually, 9, 9, and 9. He had 5 when he played 9 games. Also, off the top of your head, do you want to take a guess what his highest target number is for his entire career?
Oh man, 110
Very close. Last year, 115.
career high for him, and that
yeah,
was with I guess Kenny Golladay left a little bit. That helped him, I suppose, towards the end.
Right, which is also his highest total points. It wasn't his highest per game. His highest per game was actually in 2019, where he had 12.5. But I'm just saying, if he gets to 125, 130 as the number one for this team, and
what did we red zone target too?
And what did we just hear after the game? Urban Meyer was ticked off about the pace and how blah his offense was. If you want to talk that, let's say Trevor Lawrence throws the ball, not even Joe Burrow 650 times, but just throws it 600 times. Even if Shark is healthy. Like, I don't know how many times we have to praise the wonderfulness of Marvin Jones. So let's, on the downside, maybe I am concerned, and we'll get out of here on a poo-poo note. How about that? I'm going to do that for anyway. Then we're going to, as we go out there. That's how I feel about Shenault. Again, and I say this because it's similar to Mecole Hardman. It's the Shenault is 3 wide. It's Colin Johnson was out there. And people forgot about Colin Johnson. People forgot about Colin Johnson in college, who, if not hurt, and it came out a year earlier, where people were talking about first-round buzz with that guy. And granted, he's not that. But similar to Mecole Hardman, and that's why I keep bringing it up, is different skill sets, different receivers, different usage because of 2 wide of what you want out there when you're running 2 wide receivers. I'm not propping up and saying draft Colin Johnson. I'm just saying the similar concerns we have about Mecole Hardman is the same concerns you should have about Shenault, who, by the way, is going rounds ahead of Mecole Hardman. As much as Hardman's getting love, Shenault's getting like his love plus 10 other people's love on top of it. Cool the Jets and Shenault after, again, it's just one game, but where were you before this game and where are you now, Chris?
I'm not as high on him. He's my 3rd favorite of the trio, and I don't have any shares yet because I find him going inside the top 40 among wide receivers, and it's a little too rich for me. And again, it is only one game, but Laquan Treadwell was getting a little play in there as well.
God, actually,
right? I know it's just one game.
There's a name I haven't heard in some time.
I know, and it's so funny. I saw on Twitter from, I forget now, I think he works at The Athletic. Oh, my God. Following the Jags anyways, and it was a picture, a video of a catch down the field, and I thought it was Chark. Before the injury, I was like, man, that was a nice grab, some nice little route, nice cut, looking like some speed there. And I slowed it down, and it was Treadwell on the back of the jersey. I'm like, whoa, okay, this is the guy that Minnesota drafted. But yeah, Shenault is just, I like him as a talent, but just a little too rich for me, a little too rich.
Did you notice who else was on that team
yesterday?
He brought in Tavon Austin too. Like he's got Tebow, Austin, Treadwell. Like, how is Percy Harvin still sitting on the sidelines? Like, go bring in Percy.
It could be an absolutely frustrating fantasy team. I say that it could be, but Marvin Jones is the cheap guy in that offense. He's going to rise up, but where would you take him? Like, what is too early? Like, you got him in the 33 Jones? Or 32. Like, when do you start thinking about him, Jake? Do you say, okay, listen, I know a lot of people have him probably in the late 40s, 50s, but I'm getting him right now as my wide receiver 4, even though his ADP is getting drafted as 5, but I don't care. I'm taking him as my 4. I know he has upside to be a 2. Like, is that your thought process with him?
No,
do you reach a little bit?
A wonderful question. Something we talk about every preseason is that, whether you use my rankings, Chris's rankings, somebody else's, combiners and average them out yourself or whatever it might be, what I always say is you don't have to draft the guy where I'm drafting. This is where ADP comes in and why ADP is a useful tool. ADP tells you where you can still grab somebody at a discount, but also make sure you get them. Conversely, you could also say like, oh, I see where he's going on average. Antonio Gibson. And I just know I'm never going to get Antonio Gibson because I don't want to pay that price. So what you do, and this is perfect, we'll get out of here with Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones, as I mentioned, you're right. I have wide receiver 33. That's I have one spot in front of Curtis Samuel. But he's plus 22. So that tells you he's wide receiver 55 off the board. Now, wide receiver 55 off the board means you're about 10th, 11th round. So knowing where I am on him. So now you say, all right, well, I believe Jake. I believe Jake's right, but I don't want to take him as my wide receiver 3. I don't need to take him as my wide receiver 3. So you see the 10th, 11th round ADP. Understand some people might be coming around after that game. You say, you know what? I'll bump him up to the 9th before that game happened. Maybe now I bump him to the 8th. But again, if you're in the 8th and wide receivers are falling down and other people like Cortland Sutton, who hasn't played because of his injury, is still sitting there, or Tyler Boyd is still sitting there. Like, that's where you say, okay, he should be in range with those guys, but I can still probably take one of them and wait another round and still get Marvin Jones.
Yeah. I think you said it perfectly. He does belong, I think, in that Boyd range. Why wouldn't he? If Boyd's like the third in that offense, and Cincy, why wouldn't Marvin Jones, like, he should be in that range?
Boyd actually looked pretty good in that game, speaking of, by the way.
Yeah, I think all of them caught a pass, right? It's going to be fun for Burrow if he stay healthy.
How about that? I'll get you out of here on a weird question, Chris. If I told you you have to start all 3 wide receivers on your fantasy team for the entire season, every single week, you have to start all 3 Bucks, all 3 Dolphins, or all 3 Bengals, who are you taking?
I feel like I should.
I left one out. All 3 Cowboys.
Oh, wow. Well,
Well,
I don't like the boys, so I'll be a little judgmental on
Dallas. You're gonna be biased on this? I said for your fantasy team. I say real life.
Yeah, I may take Dallas. I probably would take Dallas, and I think I'd rank Cincy second because
Would you?
Yeah, I think I would. Tampa does seem like the logical one. I mean, Evans and Goddard have such a higher
Seems
ceiling.
like the most obvious one.
Yeah, it does seem like the most obvious, but I think I would take the Bengals boys number 2 with just the passing attempts that I think we'll see from Joe Burrow again this season.
All right, so Bengals, boys, and Bucks are at the top. All
Bengals,
the
boys,
3
Bucks.
Bs. There you go, the 3 Bs.
Yeah.
All right, then hear about this. Jacksonville or Miami? Which one are you taking? Which trio are you taking? Yeah, look at that grin. I love that again.
I
got you tripped up.
I'd take Miami. Miami.
You hesitated even as you were
I
starting to say
did,
Miami.
yeah. I like Tua. I know you're a big Tua guy. I think he's gonna be a good quarterback in this league. I'd like to see them unleash him. Are they gonna unleash him? Is he gonna throw the ball 40 plus times on average?
I don't know about 40 plus times. I don't know if they
I'd
need
like
to,
to
but
see
it'll
that.
definitely quote unquote unleashed. I mean, it'll be unleashed compared to last year, 100%. No question about it. And if they're going to be committee in the backfield, maybe it's because they're going to let Tua do his thing. It'll be interesting.
You know what? That's one thing we didn't really talk about, and I said full circle a bunch on this show, but it actually has, because you started with Brown, and if Brown's going to run, and he's going to be that first down guy, maybe that does mean Tua is going to throw the ball a little bit more, right? I mean, a lot of dump offs to Malcolm Brown on first down, I'll tell you that.
Or do we get a boost back to Myles Gaskin now because he's still used in the passing game? Is that
yes.
We gave you no answer. Congratulations. No,
don't overreact on Gaskin, but don't draft him as a top 24 running back. There.
No, so I would definitely be concerned about Gaskin. Don't write him off your draft board. The biggest thing that you just said, to come full circle, Chris, is don't overreact to week 1. There are some interesting nuggets out there. There are some interesting tidbits to take away, as we mentioned. You can decide for yourself whether or not is the takeaway that you have from some of them. Your people are gonna get so tired of that thing. But it's, if you see the videos, Barkley, that's what it did. Barkley got up again. She ran over by me again.
She loves that toy. That's what it is.
The poop emoji.
You're gonna have to get another one for $10.
I am. I'll have to order one as soon as the show is over. As soon as the show is over, as we're ending. Code ALLIN gets you the 20% off at FTN. TheAthletic.com/BetsTV gets you a first free month to go check the updated rankings, updated projection cheat sheet coming out today, that being Monday, depending on where you're listening to this. And I think I got rid of the macro. So you guys don't have to be like, I got a virus on my computer. No, there's no virus. It's just, that's wonderful macro world. Follow Chris Meaney at Chris Meaney. We'll be back tomorrow with Steph Smalls, and then Wednesdays with Jeff Ratcliffe, which, by the way, new time, 2 p.m., not 3 p.m. We moved up the time a little bit so you guys can get your afternoon out and have some fun. So I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. We love you. Bye.